Our top story check starts today in Puerto Rico, where the school year for the public school system was supposed to start, but there are still more than 200 schools not ready to welcome back those students just yet. Our One Caribbean News' Francis Felix visited one local school where she spoke to teachers and students and parents that were expressing their concern over the different challenges the schools are facing.
Public education system is supposed to start their school year during this week. There's a large number of schools that are not equipped and student ready yet. Padre Rufo High in Santurce is one of these schools that will not open its doors because of lack of maintenance and administrative personnel.
Padre Rufo High is a school specialized in languages, Spanish, French, and English. This school has an enrollment of 310 students and 35 teachers. On the day classes were supposed to start in the public system, parents received the surprise that the school couldn't receive their kids. The school wasn't ready. But what are some of the main reasons the start of classes was postponed?
Well, first of all, the painters came today to start painting the classrooms, so we can start today as we wanted. Actually, the Department of Education eliminated a tutorial program that is an after-school program, especially for those kids that belongs to the special education program, so they lose that service. Second of all, we don't have administrative employees here. We don't have a principal, we don't have a secretary, we don't have a registered person. So actually the school is working by the teachers.
Another claim of the teachers is the closure of the basketball court for 2 years after a promise from the Department of Education that it will be repaired.
The basketball court is closed from the last earthquakes. It's about 2 years and 8 months closed. But the basketball court is not only a basketball court for us. It's the place where the students hang out. They did their activities there. They do homework there. It's the only place that the students can be without the sun and the rain. And it is closed from the earthquakes. We have a promise, but never happened. It's a little frustrated, but we have to work. We have to work, we have to fight and continue.
As you can see, teachers have not been able to assemble their classrooms because campus maintenance is still happening. The uncoordination between agencies in charge has delayed things so trivial as a paint job, something not finalized in over a 3-month vacation period.
For a mother of special education students, this is a problem that occurs year after year.
Eso se debe haber hecho antes, no ahora, para que los niños pudieran comenzar. ¿Por qué?
They started painting today. That has to be done before, not now, for the kids to be able to start classes. This is every year. I don't understand why they didn't do this before. I know there's a process and permits. I understand that, but that process has to be faster. The education department has to change. For the president of the school board, the situation is frustrating for the entire community. He assured us that parents have also offered their help.
As you see, they start to paint today, so that's why we could not start the classes today. So we are very frustrated with that because, the emotion of the student came today and, see each other and, talk to the teacher. We don't have principal too, we don't have administrative workers. So for us, it's very hard to start the class today, so that's why the students are not here today. Well, yesterday we was a meeting, and they tell us that they wrote a lot of messages talking about what they can do to help us.
For his part, Governor Pedro Pierluisi said that the majority of the public schools are in a position to receive students, that they are working on the improvements of school campuses, and if any school need additional work, they will receive it quickly.
School communities have expressed their concerns about the current situation. The Department of Education has recognized that many schools are not in optimal conditions, but has made available a budget to repair 240 school campuses in the island. Reporting from Santurce, Puerto Rico, Frances Felix.
All right, thanks so much, Francis. In the meantime, Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley has announced a 5-month cap on the price of gasoline and diesel at the pump, which are currently the 3rd highest in the world. Starting Friday, August 19th and continuing until January 31st of next year, gasoline will cost no more than $2.24 per liter, while diesel will be sold at a maximum of about $2.01 a liter. During a press conference, Prime Minister Mottley said the cap on the value-added tax on gasoline and diesel, which was put in place 5 months ago, would be kept in place until at least the end of next January. The decision came after Mottley met with representatives of the Public Service Vehicle Associations, along with Deputy Prime Minister Santia Bradshaw, who is responsible for the Ministry of Transport and Works, and Senior Minister Carrie Simmons, who has responsibility for the Ministry of Energy.
After listening carefully to them and after taking other considerations into place with respect to the volatility of pricing and the spiking that's taken place, we've made a determination that, look, we need to create an area of predictability that will allow people to plan out their affairs, and that we will place a cap not just on the VAT that we will receive and the pricing of that linked to the $80 a barrel, but we will now place a cap on the price of gasoline and the price of diesel at the pump, and that we will hold to that higher price until the 31st of January. To be very precise, if the prices fall below that cap, all of those reductions will be passed through to the consumer. If the prices go above that cap, the government will hold the line and keep the cap in place.
Prime Minister Mottley said that while things are difficult for the government, her administration felt that it had an obligation to shield Barbadians even more. Well, meantime, while Russian President Vladimir Putin continues to wage war in Ukraine, many international relations educators are warning congressional members to keep an eye out for Putin's influence right in our own backyard. Our Washington, D.C. correspondent Rachel Knapp reports.
As the world continues to watch Russia's war in Ukraine, members in a House Foreign Relations Subcommittee noticed how some of our fellow Western Hemisphere neighbors reacted to the invasion.
Russia has steadily shored up its presence in Latin America and the Caribbean,
which could show how much influence Russia has in the nearby region.
Many governments on all sides of the ideologic spectrum have failed to address Russia's invasion of Ukraine. For instance, El Salvador was one of the countries that abstained from a UN vote condemning Russia's invasion, and Mexico's president has consistently telegraphed his neutrality. Worse, Nicaragua, Cuba, and Venezuela shamelessly supported Putin ahead of the invasion.
Members worry Russia's direct and indirect presence in the Western Hemisphere could cause instability and security concerns. International relations educators say Russia has built up an influence in the region by creating close relationships with Latin American dictators, broadcasting Russia propaganda in Spanish languages, even having intelligence agencies placed throughout the region.
President Putin tries to attract any country that feels slighted by the United States while taking advantage of lingering historical fears about U.S. and Western imperialism.
While many say U.S. foreign policy and investment in Latin America has taken a back seat, they see opportunities the U.S. could use to weaken Putin's hold in the region.
This is particularly evident, I believe, in the case of Venezuela, where a limited U.S. engagement in the energy sector could become a game changer and eventually reduce other threats to security in the region, including illegal drug trafficking and the refugee crisis.
In Washington, D.C., Rachel Knapp, One Caribbean TV.